Beneath Louisiana's red mud, millions of creatures are rising, and they don't belong here. They crawled across rivers, climbed into fields, and devoured native species. Each female can lay hundreds of eggs, turning the swamp into a biological battlefield. But the paradox is, the invader brought back $500 million per year. Fishermen hunt them for a living, while scientists try to find ways to stop them. Is America fighting or helping the invaders? This is the story of monster crawfish, the alien that dominates the American swamp. Granddiscover, monster crawfish invasion, America's fishermen, battle of $500 million alien takeover. From an economic hope, the monster crawfish quickly turned into an ecological nightmare, a silent yet destructive invader, as the red flood swept through the American South. They arrived in America in the mid-20th century. Monster crawfish, a giant red crayfish from the hot, humid swamps of South America. When introduced to the southern United States, no one expected the tiny creature to bring a storm. Initially, they were just a cheap source of protein, being experimentally bred by humans in rice fields and agricultural canals. But after only a few years, the species considered harmless began to burrow, spread, and reproduce at an unimaginable rate. As floods swept through Louisiana and Texas, thousands of crawfish escaped from farms and traveled through murky waters into rivers, lakes, and irrigation canals. The Mississippi River system, North America's largest aquatic artery, has inadvertently become a highway for this invasive species. They swim, crawl, and burrow through the mud, leaving behind hollow burrows like the remains of an expanding army. Red bands along the riverbanks, spreading from Texas to Alabama and then further into the Carolinas. In less than 40 years, monster crawfish has spread to more than half the United States, from the swamps of the South to the cold lakes of the North. Biologists call them aquatic gorillas, small, persistent, and nearly invincible. A single female can lay more than 600 eggs in a season, and if just a small group survives, they will multiply hundreds of times in just a few months. Louisiana dawns not with the chirping of birds, but with the crackle of engines on muddy water. Amid thick fog and steam rising from crimson canals, small aluminum boats slowly cut through the mud. On deck, the rough hands of swamp fishermen lifted each heavy iron cage, and inside, hundreds of bright red crawfish thrashed as if the water were boiling. For them, this is more than just a job. It is the front line of a war against an invasive species that has taken over the American South. From Baton Rouge to Lafayette, thousands of people rely on creatures they once considered foreign. They used to fish and hunt shrimp, but when crawfish invaded the lagoon, the old resources disappeared. To survive, they were forced to adapt, turning the destroyer into food. Every morning, when Louisiana is still covered in fog and the frogs still echo, small aluminum boats dart out like arrows tore through the water. The engines roar, waves crash against the sides, mud and water spraying up in blood-red streaks. Fishermen do not wait for dawn. They set their traps while the marshes sleep. Time is their enemy, and the water never stands still. On deck, calloused hands pulled heavy cages. Each time they were lifted, hundreds of bright red crawfish thrashed about, making a metallic clanking sound. Underfoot, the mud was thick and slippery like oil. Just one slide, and they would disappear into the cold water. Snakes, leeches, crocodiles. No one could count how many times they had appeared right next to the boat. But the fishermen still bent down, pulling more traps, fast, strong, without stopping. Here, whoever is slow loses. They work in waves, drop, pull, dump, drop again. Hundreds of traps, thousands of crawfish. The cycle of survival has no end. In these red waters, the line between life and death is as thin as the mud beneath their feet. And amidst all that turmoil, monster crawfish still thriving, and these people still risk their lives every day to catch them, to live. The sound of cutting machines, the sound of steam, and the smell of spices filled the air. Inside the factories in Louisiana, hundreds of workers worked amid clouds of steam. On the conveyor belt, crawfish roll red, tails curled, shells glistening like hot metal. Once considered an ecological menace, they are now processed, packaged, and shipped around the world. From New Orleans to Tokyo, from Houston to Beijing. In the industrial kitchen, water was boiling. Crawfish were dropped into the pot along with salt, garlic, lemon, and chili. The clanging of metal mixed with the sounds of people talking and laughing, creating a chaotic soundtrack of labor. Crawfish is more than just a dish. It is a symbol of Southern culture, where people celebrate Crawfish Boil Festival, celebrate dance, and enjoy tons of spicy crawfish. Cuisine turned the invader into pride. Their distinctive smell, fishy, sweet, and spicy, infiltrated restaurants from New Orleans to Dallas, and even fine dining in New York. They come from tropical Asia on cargo ships and containers coming into ports in Florida and Georgia and attach themselves to everything: piers, fishing boats, seawater pipes. At first, they appeared only sporadically. But within a few years, the dense green masses have blanketed seawalls, clogged pipes, and threatened entire coastal aquaculture systems. Each female can produce millions of larvae, which drift with ocean currents, spreading hundreds of miles. If crawfish is the red storm of the swamp, then green mussels are the silent disaster of the warming seas, where humans thought they had control of nature, but turned out to be chasing the shadows of new invaders. Green mussels are native to the warm waters of Southeast Asia, stretching from Thailand, Malaysia, to the Philippines. In their native environment, they thrive in waters with moderate salinity and temperatures ranging from 77 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Green mussels reproduce at an alarming rate. A mature female can release more than 5 million eggs per year. Tiny larvae float freely with ocean currents, able to move for thousands of miles, tens of miles before re-adhering to any suitable surface. It was the ability to migrate by sea, combined with international shipping and containers, that brought the species to the United States in the late 1950s, 1990, first recorded at Tampa Bay, Florida. Within just a few years, they had spread throughout the Gulf of Mexico and along the Atlantic coast, clogging docks, fish cages, fishing boats, and even the cooling systems of coastal power plants. If in their Asian homeland they are a popular dish, then in America, green mussels have become multi-million-dollar biological nightmare, a testament to how it only takes a few inches of water and a few years to change humanity's entire ocean. Biologists describe them as ocean nomads. They reproduce quickly, travel long distances, and are nearly impenetrable. Each female can produce millions of larvae smaller than a speck of dust, which drift freely in the water for hours. 3 weeks, moving goods dozens of miles before finding a place to hold on. In just a few months, the green mussel shells have become thicker, 3 feet, clogging the system, causing factories to spend millions of dollars to clean up every year. If crawfish are a land invasion, then blue mussels are an underwater invasion, said a marine biologist at the University of South Florida. They are quiet, but they spread like a plague. But in the American South, people have always known how to turn crisis into opportunity. As the cost of cleaning up increased and the seafood market became increasingly desperate for supply, a group of fishermen began to look at the mussels in a different light. They no longer saw an invasive organism, but a new source of protein right in front of them. So from Florida to Louisiana, an experiment began, harvesting blue mussels to control populations and make money off them. Every morning, when the water is still calm, small boats leave the port of Tampa Bay. On board are divers, grappling hooks, razor blades, and hundreds of pounds of containers. Their task may sound simple, removing green mussels from bridge piers, water pipes, and fish cages. But in reality, it's a job that's both dangerous and exhausting. At depths of just a few meters, visibility is obscured by billions of densely packed organisms. A slight slip of the blade can tear a glove or cut a hand. The mussel shells are razor sharp, cutting through a wetsuit. Every time they pried open a section, hundreds more would fall on top of them, splashing the murky water. The clanging of metal, the heavy breathing of oxygen tanks, all of it became the familiar sounds of men working in the ocean darkness. At small ports like Clearwater and Fort Myers, refrigerated trucks are waiting. The mussels are taken straight from the boat to a brine-washing conveyor belt, then quickly steamed in the hot air at 212 degrees Fahrenheit to split the shell and kill the parasites. Each tray of mussel meat is frozen in 0 degrees Fahrenheit, packaged in boxes labeled Fresh Green Mussels, Wild Harvest, Florida. From there, they are distributed to coastal restaurants and exported domestically to Texas, California, and even Canada. Some processing facilities have even started experimental farming of green mussels in cages, citing ease of harvesting and biological control. But scientists warn, any form of farming, no matter how controlled, carries the risk of spreading larvae into the open environment. On an industrial scale, green-lipped mussel processing plants operate 24 hours a day. The sound of compressors, steam, and the strong smell of salt permeate the air. Every day, tons of mussels are peeled, sorted, and frozen. some for export, the rest for cheap seafood restaurant chains. The revenue of the green mussel harvest industry is estimated to have exceeded $100 million per year, although it has never been officially recognized by the government as a profession. And like any subsistence fishery, the line between exploitation and destruction is blurred. Fishermen boast of helping clean up the coast, but in reality, uneven harvesting allows mussel populations to regenerate faster in less harvested areas. From the red swamps of Louisiana to the blue waters of Florida, two tiny creatures did what humans fear most: change the world in our own way. One is called food, one is considered parasite. But both reflect the same thing. When nature is tampered with, nothing remains pure. They thrive because humans bring them out. They exist because humans find profit in that very chaos. And when profit becomes the reason to continue, any attempt at control is just an illusion. The sea is restless, the swamps are restless. Seemingly small creatures are changing the world, one wave at a time, one drag at a time. Let's subscribe Granddiscover, follow real-life ocean hunts, where survival, economics, and nature collide in every frame. This is not just a document. This is the real world, and it is fighting back.